Hello and welcome back to Moonlight Museum and of course 2 Point Museum. Now where we last left off we expanded our museum just a little bit and I asked you guys a question at the end of the video and that was where should we go next? And so many of you wanted to just stay right where we are or to stay specifically on a museum that we'd already started. And honestly I am so far enjoying the Haunted Museum more than any of the others, and I think it's going quite well. So I think for now, we're going to stay here. And to begin today's episode, we are going to quickly look at the cafeteria because it was pointed out to me that these don't just give a 10% buzz bonus to everything. Apparently, bone broth in particular gives a 10% buzz boost to prehistory exhibits. The ghost chili pepper does do supernatural things. So basically the bone broth at the moment is doing us absolutely no good. Another person suggested that the 11% tip is actually a good thing. So I'm going to add that in and then take the museum mush basically to just maximize the amount of buzz we can have. So all of these 10% bonuses are specific to a type of exhibit, right? But the 2% bonus from the museum mush gives a bonus to everything. So I think that is going to be worth doing. The next thing that I want to address is the fact that we still haven't got this because we haven't provided a goth with their dream visit. Now, I actually did go ahead and look in my book here, and as far as I can tell, we haven't actually seen a goth. So to counter that, I'm going to actually cancel this supernatural campaign just for the moment, and I'm going to run a goth campaign to try and hopefully get a goth into this museum. It seems to me that this is a museum that they would enjoy, but I am just not getting any. So I'm going to run an elaborate campaign that'll give us an increased chance up to 50% of a goth guest arrival. So we'll run that. I'm not going to repeat it, and then once that's done, I'll switch it back to supernatural. So that is what's going on. We're going to try and get some more stars here in the Wayland Lodge. We're going to try and do this, but this is slowly just going to happen over time. And that brings us to the next point. Where are we going to go next? Because we actually have a lot of things locked to us. This requires a spirit key. This requires a spirit key. These ones are just absolutely scary and we don't have the skills for them yet. This one requires 4 janitors, and I think this is where I'm going to start first. I will start building myself another spirit key, but for right now, I think this is where I'm going to start. And I actually don't want to use any of these guys. So I know I was training them up slowly but surely, but I don't actually want to use them. Instead, I'm going to go into my hire staff, go into janitors, and I am going to hire 4 janitors. And 2, 3, and let the game run for a minute, and we'll grab our 4th in 8 days. And basically these guys are just going to be sacrificial worms to the slaughter. It sort of fits the vibe of this museum anyway. We might end up having them go missing, but that's fine because once we've unlocked this, they're probably going to get fired anyway. So as soon as this 4th one comes in, which is olive gold, I believe that is all we need. We might need a specific skill on one of them. Let me just double check. We need mechanics. And of course, none of the people we just hired are mechanics. So we are going to go into our staff, into our janitors that we just hired. Olive Gold here didn't have any skills, so you are going to learn mechanics real quick. And then as soon as that is complete, we'll go ahead and send them out on their mission. In the meantime, I will go ahead and set up another spirit key. Going to cost us $10,000 and take 60 days to do. But that's going to be fine because we'll be going on this expedition in the meantime. Looks like we are still making profit. We're waiting for this guy to level up, so I'll be back in a little bit. Our sacrificial lamb has officially been trained up in the mechanics skill. We can now go ahead and set up this expedition. And we are basically going to use everyone from the bottom who is either level 1 or level 2. And that way, we don't really care if we lose them. It does cost us a little bit more because we had to hire them and all that sort of stuff. But in the long run, I think it's going to be absolutely fine. I probably will go ahead and use the Haggling Handbook here just to save us a little bit of cash because we really don't care about the XP that these guys are going to get from basically going to the slaughter. So I'll let this run and we'll come back as soon as our team, hopefully at least some of them, return. And just before these guys get back, it looks like we do have a few guests in our, few goth guests, I should say, in our museum. Is that you? Yes. Yes, it is. So you want to turn into a vampire. I don't actually know how to do that. But let's have a look at our guest list here. I can leave this run for a little bit. Scroll all the way down to our goths and see what their dreams are. Turn into a vampire. Okay, turn into a vampire, turn into a vampire, turn into a vampire, turn into a vampire. I'm seeing a trend that these guys want to turn into a vampire. The question is, how do I do that? Is that something over here? Will occasionally ingest a guest, turning them into a vampire. Okay, so we just need one of our goth guests to come over here and get eaten by our plant. That could potentially happen. But we might be waiting for a little bit. I don't know. It looks like this did complete. Let's go ahead and see. Yeah, we lost one of them, but again, we don't really care. And that is going to give us staff XP, which is absolutely fine. We'll let the game run, let that helicopter come back, double check what is required past that point, and then determine whether or not we're firing all of those guys that we just hired. So we have that unlocked, which is absolutely fantastic. Looks like we also have that unlocked and lots of famous ghosts in this region. Let's have a look at the events. Not terrible. I think we can counter most of these things. So I'm going to try and do these in order, I guess. That sort of makes the most sense to me. So we'll set this up and see if we can make this work. So we firstly need 2 levels of whatever that's called, survival skills, which should be pretty easy to do because we have Divina Catborn here to counter that. Then we have a curse, and we need a security guard to rule that out. Or a supernatural expert. Okay, that's going to be tricky to get done. Just because of the staff that we currently have. We can counter out this pretty easily with Usha Pugwash. And that just leaves the Transfroggered, which is not fantastic. That's going to require another supernatural expert that has 2 levels of happy thoughts. I believe we can get that on our experts. Let me just quickly double check. We go into our experts and say yeah, we can absolutely get that on these guys. So if we look at our experts, we have Quenzel Drum here is at level 6, so they might be the best option for that. Yeah, I think they will be. So I'm going to put Happy Thoughts level 1 on Quenzel Drum, start that training, and then go into my staff assignments. And Quenzel Drum, I want you doing the deconstructing, please. Never mind. Never mind. It's going to have to be Camilla Hogwash because Quenzel Drum here is actually a botany expert. So unfortunately, I can't cancel that. But we can go ahead and set up Camilla Hogwash with Happy Thoughts level 1 and just quickly double check that she is actually doing, yeah, she's doing the analysis room. Don't do tours for the moment, please. That'll be fine. And I guess you shouldn't do, well, you can do those, but your main goal is to be just doing the analysis room, and we'll continue analyzing the things that we already have. In the meantime, can we go to any of these other locations safely? You require 3 levels of Happy Thoughts. That's probably not going to happen. You require 2 levels of Happy Thoughts and 2 levels of Ghost Whispering, which is also unfortunate because we could have just done that. We really didn't do this very well, did we? And you require a lot too. Okay, maybe we can unlock a new location instead. If we set this up, yeah, I think we can absolutely do this. So we need 1 janitor with that skill. Not delicate, please. Not delicate. Everyone's delicate. Okay, apparently everyone is delicate. But Barry Grotto, you can go ahead and do that. And then we just need basically our highest level supernatural expert should be absolutely fine. So we'll send Ariana Tickle there. And then our security guard and our assistant really don't matter all that much. So Gil Fidget, no, you're working in the cafeteria. We'll throw someone else. Is anyone just available? That would be nice. No. Okay. Pandora Pike, you are heading out that way. We'll take the spirit key with us to make sure that this gets unlocked, and we'll start that expedition in the meantime. It looks like we unlocked something, but it's not going to tell me what it is. That's absolutely fine. We probably already unlocked it. This should be taken care of by one of these two who is currently getting happy thoughts, although I wish they weren't. Because, yeah, it is what it is. But at this point, we can probably go ahead and at least fire all of those janitors that we hired, because they are not going to be necessary. So, sorry sir, you are fired. Olive Gold, you are fired. Brad Spoon, you are fired. And yeah, we'll leave the rest on. I think that'll be fine. Well, we could. Patrice Periwinkle, you're also fired. Because we got rid of all of our vending machines and stuff, we really shouldn't have that much trash around the place anymore. It should be all localized to the cafeteria, so I'm hoping that we can get away with just having 4 janitors in our museum at any one given time. But we'll continue leveling people up. Looks like these guys are back. That has unlocked the iced spires, which is stuff that we want. And the events here, maybe we can do. What do we need? Oh, right. I can't do that yet. We've got to wait for this to come back. Open the crate. Grab that XP. Absolutely perfect. We'll wait for this to come back once again. And new crime guild, that's fine. We'll go start expedition, and let's have a look over here at what is happening. This one we can absolutely do. This one we can absolutely, potentially, maybe do. Looks like we need aerodynamics on someone, but that should be fine, maybe. This is all going to be in the assistants, right? So we can train up Gil Fidget here, or Mia Fluff are both decent options there. Barry Solomon's going to be even better. Yeah, Barry Solomon is going to get trained up in aerodynamics, and then we can start that expedition just that little bit sooner. So we'll go into our assistants. We are looking for Barry Solomon, and you get aerodynamics. Start that training, and once he's got that, we can actually start going on expeditions again. This is dying. What is our botany expert doing? You are just not doing tours? You should be taking care of that. Where are you? Can I please just look at that, close that, zoom in. Oh, you were doing training. That's fine. That's fine. You should go ahead and take care of that plant now. All right, we'll wait for this training to complete, and then we'll be back in a little bit. And it looks like one of our goths got turned into a vampire, so we can now go ahead and purchase this plot, and then basically get the final design for this building at the very least. Can you go and deal with that, please? Yeah, you're dealing with it now. Yeah, this will be basically the final design of this building. We can still, of course, expand into other areas, but they're going to be separated buildings, so that's going to be absolutely fine. And as usual, our hand dryer is acting up, so we'll go ahead and replace that. That'll be okay. And yeah, we'll be back in a little bit. All right, that training is now complete. I did just go ahead and fix a couple of exclamation marks around the map, but nothing too major to be concerned about there. Now we should be able to choose our supernatural expert. That is going to be Ariana Tinkle, and our assistant will be Barry Solomon, and that will cancel out all the bad things, give us all the good things, and we should probably go ahead and take a survey scanner on this expedition as well. And we can also make this speedy. So we're starting out on our very first expedition. I will go ahead and do the usual, level this whole place up to level 3, get all the pristine things, and then we'll come back and I'll show you all the cool stuff that we got. So I'll be back in a little bit. And before I forget, now that we've got that goth thing all sorted, we should probably go ahead and restart our supernatural campaign. Repeat that infinitely, and that will be good. That should increase the buzz in all of our exhibits. We also are slowly but surely getting the things from here. We just found ourselves a Yeti. We found ourselves a plant. I'll come back once we have pristine versions of all of these things, and we'll go ahead and place them all down. So we'll be back in a little bit. All right, it is actually autumn now, which is not great for us. That is going to give us a chance to get the blizzard injury, which is fine because we've already leveled this up to level 2. There's only 40% left. With just our standard expedition on detailed, we will get 45%, so we can go ahead and take a first aid kit to counter that out. That is going to be absolutely fine. We have our very first 3-star pristine exhibit. That is the haunted bed. First one we've actually found, so that is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to send that to my inventory for now, and I'll go ahead and collect all of them and show you all of them once we've got all of them. I said all of them a lot, so we'll be back in a little bit. Also seems like we are slightly understaffed. This had no staff for a little bit here. Looks like all the ticket booths are, maybe we're okay. I'm going to leave it for a little bit, see how it goes, but we might potentially consider hiring another assistant very, very soon. Looks like our marketing staff have leveled up, and I'm going to continue on just giving them the marketing skill. I think that is going to benefit us in the long run. And I don't really see any negative to that other than the fact that we have to pay them more. But hopefully they're bringing in more people and more money than we eventually have to pay them anyway. So that is going to be fine. We're going to continue on with the expeditions. And now that we officially have both of these plots unlocked, we should probably go ahead and actually edit our building. Because I would like our building to be bigger. Not that we're going to use it yet, but it's going to allow me to figure out where I kind of want things to be in the long run. So I will leave a little bit of a path around the outside, just like so. And we'll go ahead and remove this section. I believe we'll be fine. Yeah, I think that's going to look fine to me. And we'll go ahead and accept that change. That is going to give us a ton more space. And if you remember in one of the previous episodes, I talked about potentially expanding this out to include a security room. I think that is something that I would like to do now. That was perfect timing. Criminals have vandalized the museum and then escaped. Where was security? Where was security indeed? I don't know what they vandalized. I guess it was this and we've already fixed it. But that's going to be absolutely fine. So slowly but surely we're getting all of these exhibits. I'm going to pause the game for just a little bit and I want to start working on expanding this out. First thing I'm going to do is get rid of this awful white floor that is so reflective. So I'm going to start building this out. We'll extend this little staff area to include a security room, and then I'll come back and show you where I'm installing all of my cameras and whatnot. Right, so we have our little security room in here. I decided to make this a walkthrough and I expanded the staff bathroom a little bit as well. If we need to, we can add 2 more rooms back here, maybe more marketing, potentially. I don't really know what I want to add just yet. I would, however, like to add another candelabra down there. I think that will work out quite nicely. And they've got a little bit of seating down here. They're going to be absolutely fine. So next task is to go ahead and figure out what I want to do with this flooring, which I think is going to be pretty similar to what we're doing at the moment. However, I would like to add another side door to this part of the building that is eventually going to lead to that bridge. And I'm just going to throw that in to make sure that I don't forget that that is in fact where I want it. So I'll jump into another quick little time lapse as I figure out a little bit of a floor plan for this, and we'll be back in a little bit. For right now, I think that is going to be fine. We'll know more about what we want to put back here once we actually have things to put back there. But the next task is going to go ahead and throw down some security cameras so we can get a little bit more of an idea of what is actually happening in our museum. Now, these are going to go basically all around the place. I think getting some near reception is going to be absolutely key, so we can throw one right there, check people as they are coming in. I might even throw one on the other side just to get 100% coverage on that, and just so that they can't sneak past, we'll throw one there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and place these down in a whole bunch of different locations, and I'll come back after we've done that and show you what my coverage is actually looking like. Now, the question is this overkill? And the answer is probably. So this is the coverage of my museum so far. I don't have any in the gift shop. I don't know if that's something that we need to worry about. I don't think it is. I've never had any problems in there. But for right now, this is the sort of coverage we are looking at. Now, I could potentially add some like seats and things like that to get even better coverage. But honestly, we've only had one vandalization this whole game. And no one's stolen anything, so I'm not super concerned. I do definitely need some people that can, you know, work in the camera room. I think we have a couple. If we have a look at our staff and our security guards and their job assignment, we have 3, which is honestly not bad. And Nellie Parker here, you can even go ahead and get another level, and I'll give Bella Gamgee another level as well. Just to get them a little bit of extra detection, and hopefully that should cover our museum pretty well. I honestly don't foresee any issues with that. The only thing that's not really covered at the moment is this, but that's fine because we haven't really got any exhibits over there just yet. So we'll get rid of those annoying blue lines. Looks like we are continuing with the analysis, which is absolutely fine. These guys are back, so we'll send them right on back out and continue on trying to find the pristine versions of all of these exhibits. Looks like we've so far only got the haunted bed. We are still looking for the pristine version of the Yeti and the chili plant, so we'll be back once we have both of those. Alright, before we get all of them, we do have another dilemma, rhyme or reason. As your team wanders aimlessly through the misty gloom, an irritatingly high-pitched ghostly voice cries, "I will show you the way, but you have to pay." That sounds reasonable to me. We get cursed. The expedition does take 7 less days. Forking out cash to get directions is never ideal. Having your noggin turned into a frog's head as payment is frankly even worse. So we are going to have to go ahead and heal up them, but that's going to be fine. We can go ahead and deconstruct this last chili plant in the meantime. These guys should be back in a second. Hopefully only one of them got cursed by that. Let's have a look. It's not going to tell us. Of course it's not. We have another one of them that we can deconstruct. And who has the curse? You are fine. And you are fine. Maybe we didn't get cursed? That's weird. Okay. Now I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and start the expedition and see where that is. I think that's... yeah, this treats curses. We don't have anyone with a curse. Okay. I guess that just didn't work. I will take it, but that is very, very strange that no one came back with a frog's head. So we'll continue on. And there it is, our final pristine exhibit. Go ahead and send that to the inventory. We are still doing a little bit of deconstructing. We need to deconstruct this Yeti and a haunted bed, which we have already. So yeah, it looks like we're going to need to go out and find at least one more Yeti. We can go ahead and do that very, very quickly. Hopefully we just get a Yeti and we get super lucky. This can now be speedy because we don't care about the quality anymore. We have all the pristine versions. We just need to go ahead and place them. So I'm going to pause the game real quick. And for this chili plant, I'm imagining this needs some sort of freezer. But I think it makes the most sense to put this over near our this guy. And I think I actually want him in that spot. So I'm going to pick you up. I'm going to move you to the corner over here. Like there, maybe. And go ahead and pick you up and throw you down. I don't know. Do I want you all the way over there? Or can we fit 2 in there? I think we might be able to fit 2 in there. You are going to require a cold climate. So that is going to need air conditioner. This is a modded item. I like it because it goes on the roof and it doesn't get in the way. So we can go ahead, I don't know, throw that down right there. Should be fine. Hopefully you don't mind. You don't seem to mind. You are now in a cold climate. You are pristine. That is all very, very good. And we can probably go ahead and move this so it's not blocking things quite so much. And that should be pretty good. This corner might need a little bit more decoration. Everyone is technically happy, but I like decoration. So let's go for some botany decorations in this corner. Maybe throw like a hanging flower there with some, I don't know, I like the fireflies. I think the fireflies add quite a lot. And then we'll switch it back to the supernatural stuff. Maybe get some chairs or something back here. This looks like somewhere we could store a whole bunch of stuff, really. And then maybe just like one of these in there as well. And for the fun of it, let's throw in another one back there. And that is all looking good. This is currently dying, but that's just because we have our expert currently analyzing things. They do eventually get back, and that should be okay. All right. Next to place is this haunted bed, and the question is, where do we want it to go? Probably right there, to be honest. We need to leave a little bit of room for that doorway, so I think there works absolutely perfectly. We'll go ahead and decorate this out, and I'll be back in a little bit. All right, that is our haunted bed down. Unfortunately, it does have eternal slumber, so this reduces energy a little bit. We can counter that a little bit by giving it an energy boost thingamajig. And then the last thing to place is our Yeti. And I honestly have no idea what you like, so let's have a little bit of a look. Looks like you prefer natural decor, and you want to have a wild meditation spot and don't share a room with a frogborn. Okay, that's pretty easy to go ahead and do. So we just need to build another ghostly room, and that is going to be right in here. How big did I make this? This was 7 by 3, I believe. So we'll go ahead, and I planned on doing these apart, right? How far apart did I plan on doing these? 7 by 3 with a 2 gap in the middle? Yeah, that looks about right. So that's going to go right about there. We can go ahead and accept that. This is going to be natural room decor, which honestly is kind of ugly, but that's going to be okay. And then we can go ahead and move our Yeti, if I can find you. Where is our Yeti? Is this our Yeti? Must be. Yes, it is. We'll pick you up and throw you down in here. You're not going to have any decorations or anything like that. The only thing you require is a wild meditation spot. So I'll go ahead and decorate this room out, and we'll be back in a little bit. All right, that is our wild decor room. You should now be very, very happy. The only thing we need to do is go ahead and get your knowledge up by 1 more point, and you will be very pleased. The only thing left to do, of course, is to go ahead and hang some info signs, and of course, make sure that we have a donation bin at least somewhere nearby. If we take you, we could potentially throw you right in the middle there. I don't hate that. I think that'll be fine. This maybe needs to be moved over a little bit more, though. Yeah, I think that's the same amount of gap. Maybe it needs to be moved over by about 1. Yeah, that looks right to me. All right, so that is officially another location done once we get the knowledge from that. So I'll go ahead, farm up this knowledge, and be back in a little bit. We did, of course, unlock the Slumber Yard, which is the next location on this list. Go ahead and unlock that and take a look at the events. Looks like we need 2 workshop, 1 fire extinguisher, and 2 Survival skills? I think we can do that. I think we can do that. I believe we can go to that location. This is also unlocked, and yeah, we might be able to get that done as well. Maybe. But I'll get this knowledge up first, and we'll be back in a little bit. That's the Yeti we need, so as soon as that's deconstructed, we will be good to go. Which means we can now move on to the next location. And honestly, we may as well just follow this along, right? I think we can get this done. This is going to require level 10, level 2 in that, which I think we can get with like Barry Grotto. Yeah, we can level him up. But they are going to need fire extinguisher as well, and then this will be fine. Okay, I think we can get that. There is no way to counter that apart from not doing this in summer. So we can't actually do this just yet anyway. But for the moment, we may as well go ahead and level Barry Grotto up with the second level of workshop. This will counter just by using the first aid kit. Everything else should be absolutely fine. So we'll jump into our training, go into our janitors, look for Barry Grotto, and we'll level him up with the workshop skill. That is going to be absolutely fantastic. And as soon as that is ready to go, we'll go ahead and send these guys out on another expedition. The only problem that we currently have in our museum is we don't have enough experts doing tours. We currently only have the one, which is not great. So I'm going to allow, well, no, because you're doing analysis. I guess we hire another tour guide is what we do. So that is going to require a supernatural expert. We'll go ahead and send that as an advert. Hopefully that guy doesn't quit in the meantime. He is not particularly happy. He's tired, he's got toilet discomfort. Let's just send you on a manual break because you don't seem to be taking one because there is no one who can relieve you, right? So once this application comes in, we should be good to go with another tour guide. You are a toilet terror. No, thank you. No, thank you. Let's look for someone else. Hopefully you go on a break. Go on a break. I mean, at the very least, we can just say, hey, don't do tours for the moment, and maybe then you'll go on a break. He's unhappy and close to resigning. Yeah, we know. We know. Go on a break. Go on a break. Pick you up, move you, go on a break. On a break. Go ahead and do the things that you need to do. Okay, I think that solved the problem. We need to hire someone else. You have rapid restoration, not exactly what I want for a tour guide, but you're going to have to do for the moment. And then we can say you don't do analysis and you do tours. Perfect. We have 2 tour guides now, so they should, actually go on breaks, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. We can start deconstructing this last Yeti. I believe that training is done, so we should now be able to go ahead and send out our expedition to our location. We are going to send Ariana Tickle and Barry Grotto with some first aid kit to counter this. They still have summer. Okay, we're going to have to wait. We need to wait for it to not be summer. So I'll let the months go by, and once it's not summer anymore, we'll come back and actually send them on that expedition. Looks like we might require another security guard or 2. Also, I didn't realize that I still had these little ones hanging around. We can go ahead and get rid of them because they are not necessary. We are using exclusively big ones for the moment to save our security guards from doing so much work. And we should probably go ahead and get someone else in here. You're a junk foodie and a robust, that'll do. And the other thing that we should probably consider doing is upgrading our security station, because this takes perks as well. We can get Wide Watch, which increases the radius of security coverage, or we can get High Alert, increase camera's effectiveness at detecting disguised criminals. I think I'm going to go for Wide Watch to start off with. That basically just increases the radius of all of your cameras, and I think that is going to be good to do. Should probably go ahead and actually get bonuses on all of our new exhibits as well, because I haven't done that just yet. And yeah, we're going to continue on. It is now September, so we can go ahead and actually get these locations started. It is going to be the guys that we said before with a first aid kit, and we need 2 levels of survival skills, which I did not take into account. Neither of you guys have that, but we do have Davina Catborn down here who can successfully accomplish that. We still have 10 levels, so that is going to be absolutely fine. It's just going to take a lot longer because we don't have the ability to use either the survey scanner or one of our people who have survey skills. So that is something to keep in mind. This is probably going to take a while to get leveled up to level 3, but assuming everything else runs smoothly, we'll be back as soon as that actually happens. I actually think we just got a famous spirit and I didn't even realize. So we got Margaret Fitzpocket. Before there was Zara, there was Maggie, the foremost Fitzpocket, and First Lady of 2 Point Style. The foremost Fitzpocket and First Lady of 2 Point Style had such an immense influence that it said you can't pick up a brush, a pen, or camera without ripping her off. So that is absolutely fantastic. I don't know where you would like to go. But I guess we'll figure it out because you are pristine, you're already researched, we don't have to worry about doing anything else for you. So for right now, I'll throw you down here just to see how you do. Looks like you want industrial age decor, you are unique and an artist, you want to have the things, have an antique chair, have the Fitzpocket easel, have any light, antique bookcase, don't share a room with an average quality spirit or lower, and no olden dummy. I believe we have an industrial age room somewhere. That's dark age, that's industrial. We don't have the room for you in here though, so I might have to go ahead and build you your own special room, which is going to be fine. We can absolutely do that. I'm sure we'll get more industrial age spirits as we go. For right now, I'm going to remove both of these hanging signs and I will throw down a brand new room. Poltergeist room right down here. That is going to be 3x7 as well. We'll throw the door in there and go ahead, tick yes, and this is industrial age decor. So where did you go? There you are. We'll move you in here and get all of the things you need, which is honestly quite a lot. So I'm going to decorate this room out and we'll be back in a little bit. Alright, you are now officially happy apart from the easel, which I imagine we will also find at that location. So for right now, we'll continue on getting all of the things from this location, but she should be happy enough for the moment as long as we go ahead and add these back in and make sure that this actually reaches where we need it to be, and it does. So that's going to be absolutely fine. I also don't think I'm going to go ahead and do this with Divina Catborn. I just don't think it's worth it with no survey level on them. Although, no, it is. It 100% is because this is MIA, not something minor like an injury. That's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. We could probably get away with having the injury though, and just healing them up in the meantime. And that way we can take the survey scanner, which is going to make this a lot better. We can't do speedy. Well, we could do speedy, and that way we decrease the odds of getting an injury, because this is much quicker to deal with. I think that might be the option, actually. It's going to give us 50% survey level. Or do we do safe? Then we have a 1 in 3 of getting an injury. I guess this way we have a 1 in 2 of getting a bad thing. I'm going to go for safe. Hopefully we get these more often than not. If we get the deadwood, then we'll just heal up our people and that'll be what it is. We don't want to do detailed because that will give us 2 of these events, which gives us a basically, what's the chances? I don't know. A 2 in 6? No, that's the same as 1 in 3. A 2 in 3? I don't know. I don't know what the odds are. But we're going to go for safe, so we only get 1 of these, and that way we have a 1 in 3 chance of getting deadwood. It's just going to make that go so much quicker. And that is what I'm all about. So that is going to be the plan. But we'll be back in a little bit. There is the easel that she wanted, so we can go ahead and place that immediately. She's going to be very happy to have that. And I think we can place it like right next to the bookshelf. That sort of makes sense. And she should now be very, very happy, right? 135. She was a little bit not at peace. I believe that's because of this. She should be fine. right? I don't understand why she wouldn't be happy. She has, yeah, keep spirits entertained and then distract them from distress. I believe that should go up. No, it's still going down. What can I do to increase that? Are our others doing that as well? I mean, you're fine. Maybe you just need to wait. Oh no, you're good. You're good. As soon as the person came in and started talking to her, she was happy. All right, that's good. That's good to know. We're going to continue on. Oh, and that's interesting to note. This is actually the location of the haunted portrait, which we do have in our museum. That's this one right here. So we can finally upgrade this to pristine, and I believe that will be every exhibit in our museum that goes up to pristine. So that is fantastic. And just a quick note, we now have this up to level 3, so we can go ahead and start taking the first aid kit again. We managed to successfully avoid this event at all, so that is absolutely fantastic. We'll now start doing detailed expeditions to go ahead and get the pristine versions of the artifacts at this location. Alright, it looks like Camilla Hogwash has leveled up, and we have a decision to make. Because I accidentally gave them happy thoughts when I probably shouldn't have given, should have given them second level in spirit whispering. But the question is, what do we want more? Do we want 2 levels of spirit whispering, or do we want 2 levels of happy thoughts? And honestly, I'm gonna have to wait for this helicopter to come back to decide that, because I like to check on the events. I like to set up the expedition rather than just looking through the events themselves, because you can't really see who's going. Yeah, anyway, that is what it is. We'll wait for these guys to come back and then we'll make that decision together. Alright, so happy thoughts or ghost whispering is what we want to decide. Let's have a look at some of these locations. You are going to require 2 levels of happy thoughts. Good to know. You are officially now unlocked, and you are unlocked, and you are unlocked. That was a lot of unlocks. You're going to require both. That's fine. You are going to require neither. You are going to require neither. So they're both fine. You are just a whole bunch of MIAs. You are both. Okay, it looks like it's either both or leaning towards happy thoughts. So I think happy thoughts is probably the way to go. You require 3 levels of happy thoughts, which is wild. I actually don't know. Yeah, I haven't done this place either. So yeah, it's definitely going to be happy thoughts. That is absolutely the way that I want to go. So we are looking at our experts, and Camilla Hogwash here is going to get level 2 in happy thoughts. We will eventually need to train someone up with another level of spirit whispering. If we can get this person to level 20, we could give them 3 in happy thoughts and 2 in spirit whispering, which I think is enough for most of them. Unless, let me just check at these super scary ones in the middle here. Yeah, you're only 2 of spirit whispering and you are fine. So yeah, I think that might be the plan. We're going to continue having them on analysis so we can level them up as quickly as possible. But we're going to continue on with the expeditions for now. Alright, we officially have all pristine versions of the exhibits that are at this location. We just need to deconstruct one more ghost flusterer, which is currently not in here, right? No, that's a haunted portrait. Okay, so we do need to go on some more expeditions, but for right now, we can go ahead and return the original haunted portrait that we started with in this museum, come full circle and replace it with the pristine version, which of course we will then go ahead and upgrade with different perks. But we also have a new exhibit, and that is going to be the Ghost Flusterer. It needs to be near a catacomb wall, and that's going to be absolutely fine. Can we throw it in here, or is that going to be too tight? That's probably a little tight for me. I think I'd like another square exhibit in there. And over here, yeah, we can maybe fit it. If we get another square exhibit, I think that'll be absolutely fine. So that's going to sit right there for the moment. Or we could move it over a little bit. That will get it close enough to this ghost dusting demo to get to be near a supernatural exhibit, and then we can place a square one here, or eventually just move this back over. And I think that is going to be absolutely fantastic. So that should already have full decoration, which is great. It wants to be near a catacomb wall, so we can go ahead and do that. Just place that directly behind it. That is going to be fine. That is all set up. I will go ahead and grab one more of these, make sure we deconstruct that to get full knowledge. And I believe with that being said, we now have pristine exhibits all across the board. We no longer have anything that is below pristine, which is exactly how I like my museums to be. Now, I'm not going to run this because I did quickly take the time to notice that there is another nightmare there. So I'm going to let a couple of months pass. Well, should I move on? I think we might move on to the next location, but I'm going to have to save that for the next episode. If you guys are excited to see more Wayland Lodge, see this whole backspace come to life, and hopefully eventually try and complete this entire netherworld, which I think we've already unlocked everything. Oh no, we've still got a couple of things to unlock. Mostly just that one. I think that's it. I think everything else is unlocked, so that's fantastic. If you're excited to see that, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, leave a like and a comment for the sake of engagement, and consider joining the Discord. Nuz and Reldoth have been doing a fantastic job over there, cleaning everything up, making video notifications go to just people who want them rather than everyone. It's a great time over there. You should really come hang out. Link is in the description down below. I'll also pin a comment with a question for you guys to answer. And yeah, with all that being said, until next time, happy building, happy curating. Bye, guys.